The Daily Ironman Show with Ironman Daily is Ironman Daily. Ironman Daily back with another episode. In today's episode, we're going to talk about slavery. So obviously, slavery is when you own another human being as property. Very bad, very illegal. Don't do it. But the interesting thing is, all these guys who want to have slave labor are able to find workarounds. So you might have heard the term wage slavery. So you can't own human beings, but you can, in a sense, own their work. And you can't own their work directly. They have to sell it to you willingly because we are free people here. But the workaround for slavery is owning companies. So you can have like a privately owned company, and that is basically a workaround for slavery because the work at the company, the labor, the fruit of slavery is privately owned. So this is the problem. Like, we should be allowed to own things. We should be allowed to own like items or like goods. What's a good example? What's a good example of something we can own? Like apples, bags of rice, potatoes, cars, phones. We should be able to own that stuff, have private property. I believe in private property. But if your private property includes a whole company of people, it's not like you actually own the people, you just own the organization of their labor. And of course this gets dubious because we can get into like labor theory of value and communism, and I don't agree with that stuff. But I do think that this kind of framework is used for the owners to exploit the workers in a way that bypasses literal slavery. And in some ways, it's even better for the owners because now they don't have to take care of anybody. They just have to pay wages. Another thing that's strange is owning real estate, because how does it make sense to own the earth itself? It's how can we own the water and own the air when it's so interconnected with everything else? There's definitely a gray area there about what is okay to own as property and what is not okay to own as property. But I think if you own a company, that's too far. I don't think people should be allowed to own companies. Like, you could own your own company, I guess. I want to support small and medium-sized businesses, so it gets kind of messy here to think about. Like, say you start a business, you're like cleaning gutters, right? And it's your own business, right? So you own it. But then you get so many clients, you need to hire another guy. So you have a guy who's helping you, and he's like, I don't want to own the business, I just want to get paid. So now you've entered into this kind of contract. Part of the tricky part here is that the workers want it to be okay. Like, workers don't always want shares of the company they work for. Sometimes they just want to be paid. But if a worker doesn't want shares of the company and does just want to be paid, isn't that a sign that they don't really care about the quality that they're providing? They think that the company they work for is a sinking ship, so they don't want to own it. They don't want to be any part of it. It's just so weird to me. If you have like a company that develops over time, you start it yourself, you hire people, you're working, doing good work, and then you're able to like sell the company to somebody else. That's the crazy part to me. Like, selling a company should require the consent of everybody who works there, right? Even if the workers don't own shares of the company, like, they still have a stake in it in a sense. And it's so crazy because the value of the company, like, these guys are going to negotiate, like, I'll buy it for $3 million. Okay, well, I'm selling for $5 million. It's like, okay, well, how about 3.5 million? No, how about 4.5 million? Well, how about 4 million? Okay, let's agree to sell it for 4 million. They just make up some amount that they're both willing to pay, like free market type shit. And now, because of the change of ownership, the whole company is affected. Like, it actually changes. Oh, I've run out of teleports. What am I supposed to do now? It changes the whole situation. The whole company is affected. Like, say for example, you're working for a guy who you really like, and then he sells the company to somebody you don't like. Now, like, you don't want to work for the company anymore, so you quit. If you're the best worker there, now the value of the company drops. Yeah, I don't know. I need some input on this. Like, what do you guys think? Like, should we be allowed to own and trade organizations in this way? Because on the small scale, like with small and medium-sized businesses, especially if you start it yourself and you have employees who want to work for you, it seems perfectly fine. It seems okay. But in the big scale of things, when you have people who own companies that are driving towards, I think part of the issue here is not just the ownership structure, it's the duty that publicly owned companies have to their shareholders. But then again, publicly owned companies are a different problem than privately owned companies. The pro-slavery side is always going to try to find some angle where it's okay for them to leverage the labor of poor people who just need a paycheck to get by. So that's why we need like a very powerful welfare state, so that everybody's needs are provided for automatically. And you're only allowed to pursue private wealth once everybody in your nation is suitably taken care of. It's unfair to have like market competition when there's people who are struggling to survive and who are willing to lay down their lives for a paycheck. So, yeah, just rambling there. Let me know your thoughts, because a lot of this stuff is not very clearly thought out. I'd be interested to hear your opinions on these matters. Thanks for watching Ironman Daily. Stay tuned for another episode tomorrow.